All right, welcome back to Seahawks chat. So, this video is basically just talking about my expectations and my pre-analysis on the game against the Packers. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this is gonna be one of the first times that maybe I'll be able to catch it because it's early. It's gonna be 10 a.m. and I actually work late at night, so I don't know if I'm probably gonna be passed out to watch it. So maybe it's gonna be more like a highlights thing for me. Maybe I'll be able to be lucky enough to find like a full stream like replay version or something. Maybe. But in any event, I'm like a 70-30 on me missing that game. But all in all, these are some expectations of what I want to see in that game if possible. And hopefully y'all agree on what I have to say. So let's just get down to it. Excuse me. With Geno Smith, I really just want him again. Same thing like last time. I don't want him to be used too much, but I do want him to throw a little bit. I do have him doing between 5 and 8 attempts, which I think is good. So get the ball off the, get the arm going, put some, put some spin into the ball. If he does get about five catches, or even gets about 3 or 4 catches, I do have him between about 50 yards. I'm about saying between 40 and 50, really. I don't expect too much of Geno, even if he misses a few, which I hope is not the case. I don't expect a lot out of him in this game, anyways. I don't expect him to take this game seriously, so that's why I was at a point where I was just gonna put zero expectations, but I have to put something because I do expect Geno to play at least 5 to 6 minutes or maybe 2 drives, which is probably that maybe. If he gets touchdown, he gets touchdown. If he gets finished, I don't have expectations for that. I don't. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Holton Aller instead of Locke because usually I go like starter, second, and third. But I'm gonna talk about Holton Aller for a little bit because it's kind of simple. Just get it out of the way. In terms of Aller, some people really like Aller. Some people think he's a fan favorite. Blah 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 blah. I understand. Holton Aller is a practice squatter at best, and to be fair, if he does get cut, I am not surprised. So, just to get that out the way, I'm sorry. If your feelings are hurt, I'm sorry. But Holton Aller is not even even like backup quality quarterback level yet. So if he can make it in the practice squad, if he gets waved around and stays around, and we pick him in practice squad just because he was really fun to actually see when he played. Again, a very Taysom Hill like kind of player. But do you see Taysom Hill throwing dimes every freaking down? Like every time he's playing quarterback, do you see him throwing dimes all the time? And he's throwing for 30 attempts a game every game. No, Taysom Hill sometimes doesn't even play. Go check last year. Taysom Hill barely played, and I know that because I had him as a flex player for my goddamn team, and I benched him after like week 3. Then I just released him and then got another player because that's how irrelevant it was. It was unfortunate. He only had like 2 or 3 good games, one notably against Seattle, but that's about it. So in terms of Haller, there's only so much I can say about him. But if he's playing and he's going to start running, I do expect 5 carries for 25 yards. So that's about 5 yards. That's 5 yards average. Okay, so then afterwards we're going to talk about Drew Lock. Drew Lock is the one who we should really be talking about in terms of who we're going to watch in terms of quarterback, because I really do see him coming in between the first half of the first quarter and onwards, all the way to the fourth quarter, probably maybe like middle of the fourth quarter as well. Like he's gonna play full quarters. I do expect him this game. If he does not get injured, I expect Carroll to tell Drew Lock, "Hey, I understand you're not going to be a starter, but I want you to show your arm. So go throw the ball." And I really do think he's going to have between 30 and 35 attempts. Hopefully gets between 17 and 20 catches for over 235 yards. Hopefully 2 touchdowns yet again. If it's 3, that's when it becomes impressive for Drew Lock. Because I'm sure Drew Lock will be able to show that, and he's done it before in Denver, where he's had 3 touchdown games. He's had, it's just more of the fact of, can he limit his mistakes and can he not bring his own confidence down? That's the problem with Drew Lock all the time, is that once a mistake occurs, he tends to do it again, and then he tends to get really timid and then gets really lack of confidence and then he loses. He's basically a shell of himself. So that's where like the quarterback of him really does start to drop. Like his actual stock, like potential of play drops because of his lack of confidence after he does make a mistake. I think it's nice that in Seattle they're giving him this opportunity. Like, hey, if you make a mistake, dog, just see what you did and then see it and then get better at it. That's exactly what happened with Geno when he was with Russ. You know that, and look at Geno. Now he's already becoming what's considered a comeback player of the year, more along the lines of the prolific level quarterback. And he's always had that arm. I mean, if you saw it in West Virginia, he was a beast. But in any event, excuse me. For Locke, I do also see him throwing a touchdown. To be very fair with you, that's the thing with Locke is that you do expect that turnover. If it's not a forced fumble, it is a interception. In this case, I'm going for the interception because he's throwing over 30 attempts. So Carroll is gonna let him loose. And I'm all for this. If he throws for an interception but yet gets 2 or 3 touchdowns, I'm still going to be very confident in Drew Lock. And like I said before, there's been people that talked about using him as a trade piece. I can't really justify trading him unless, again, it's a second round pick, low second round pick to middle, whatever, just a second round pick to extremely high. Like we're talking top 5, top 6, third round pick value. And it has to be established. Like, that team has to already suck enough to know that they're only going to win 4 games. Like the Cardinals or something. Maybe. Like, but I wouldn't even want to trade them to the Cardinals because that's our own division. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. Is, like, Drew Lock is the best case scenario as a backup for Geno Smith in every fashion. I'd rather pick him over a few other quarterbacks. There's a few other quarterbacks I'd pick pick over Locke, like for example, Jacoby Brissett or Gardner Minshew. Those are probably more premier tiered backup level, almost starting caliber if given the real chance. But yeah, that's something that I really like about Drew is that he's still young, he's relatively inexpensive for a quarterback of his caliber. And he's still learning. And he wants to learn in Seattle. That's why he came back. I'm sure he had other offers. And sure, maybe there were probably lower tier offers. But all in all, Drew Lock came back to us for a reason. He likes it here. And he embraces the learning curve that we provide here in Seattle. Even though, like the Seahawks. They bring a lot of growth and potential. Their aggressive expansion. I love their approach on that. But in any event, so that's enough for the quarterbacks. I really hope Drew Lock has a good game. If he doesn't, then, I still expect him to still be out there to like the top of the fourth quarter. If he has a horrendous game, like a 3 interception game like last time, I still think at the top of the fourth quarter. But if it's hindering, like these are like 2 pick sixes, then yeah, I think Carroll will pull him after the half if it's that extreme. But all in all, I don't see Locke having any of those extreme moments at all. So let's go and keep moving. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the wide receiver core because it's kind of simple and sweet. But at the same time, it also does pose a lot of red flags to me. Okay? Because even though I know these players, I expect them to get better. There's a lot of injuries in our wide receiver core. All right, JSN's out, so I don't. Everyone expects him by week 1. I expect him by week 2. I'm not trying to rush him. That guy is our like package deal. Like the ribbon bow, and it's a nice car. Like I'm not trying to make him as a materialized. I'm not trying to materialize him, but I'm just saying, like for the Seahawks, this is our prized possession. Even if it's week 3. Like I don't want JSN to have to force himself here just to perform for us. I want him to feel at his best and then perform at his best. So in any event, no expectations for him. I don't have no expectations for Derek Young. Excuse me. I don't have any expectations for Lockett, DK really. The only thing I noted is that Lockett maybe 1 to 2 receptions, 15 yards. DK, 1 reception, 10 yards. Those are about it. Other than that, everyone else is pretty much like everyone else is hurt. K. Johnson's hurt. Cody Thompson's hurt. Landers is technically hurt. He pulled his leg. So I have just straight expectations. My expectations for the majority of the receiving core is none. But there's only one player that I really have expectations for, and he already solidified his spot on the team. But if he just goes out because he's literally like our best receiver right now, just full on healthy, Jake Bobo's gonna go over the top and probably be our 4th receiver instead of being the projected 5th receiver. Because I had him projected as our 5th receiver, to be fair, excuse me. Oh, sorry. I had him projected as our 5th receiver. But with him being so healthy and him performing basically the best, and I mean the best wide receiver so far in preseason, Bobo's going to be coming in hot. And what's nice is that he'll be our big 4th receiver. So you got JSN running in the slot, and then it leaves a big target like Bobo, basically like another wide receiver. I mean, another tight end in terms of size. Throws it, catches it, easy 7 to 10 yards. And he could do that like 5 times. Now, trust me, he does that 5 times in 16 games. He's almost a 1,000-yard receiver. Guaranteed. I do the math. Almost a 1,000-yard receiver. Oh, no, I think he is. Because he's already doing, there's 18 games. But yeah, you know what I mean? He's like close to 1,000 yards. And that's all you have to do with Bobo. Bobo, he doesn't have to be such a go receiver. We have plenty of go receivers. Bobo's more of a in the middle, around the sides, a couple yards here and there, big target. If he has to, he'll catch a 30 or 40. He'll catch a 30 or 40. He's got the hops, he's got the length. Bobo is impressive. And what impresses me is that I don't know how no one saw Bobo, because I genuinely saw Bobo when I saw Dorian Thompson Robinson and Zach Charbonnet. Especially notably when I was scouting Zach Charbonnet, because I knew in a running back group, I'm not saying we're going to draft another running back. I'm just saying, like, in the running back group, I like scouting running backs a lot. I like scouting cornerbacks a lot. I like scouting wide receivers a lot. I like scouting quarterbacks. Those are like the 4 that I love scouting. Like, I have such a passion for. So those are the, like, in terms of players, I probably could find you like those best, and maybe safeties too, like secondary. But O-line I try my best with, and D-line I do try my best with. There are some players that I do know are, especially in terms of offense and defense. Everyone knows. It's true thing with the eye test. You see who's a really dominant player, and they'll be the best for a while. So, in any event, so in terms of wide receivers, I really just have Jake Bobo. He has 6 to 10 catches. If he plays 3 quarters, which I expect him to play, probably about 3 quarters, maybe a half, because he's one of the only few that are really like healthy. So even though there'll be a bunch of like high school talent, well, let's be honest, let's just say like semi-pro talent. Jake Bobo is still going to be out there, and he's going to be a difference maker. And he probably would be, for how slow he is, he would probably get double teamed because of the way he runs his routes. He's real elusive, and he's elusive enough that he's somehow able to get 10 yards and just separate himself from the defender. And I'm not even saying like elusive as in like he's shifty. He's just like sneaky. Like he just goes and like goes that way, and then I don't know where the defender's like, oh, what the hell? And then he realizes that Bobo's like 6 yards in front of him. And then when they have to turn around, the ball's already flying in front of him. So then that's when Bobo catches. You know what I mean? It's interesting. It's really interesting with Bobo. I'm very proud to see a UCLAer push it hard for us for the Seahawks. So that really does hit home for me because I'm from Southern California. In terms of running backs, I got K9. I got him for doing a drive, maybe 3 carries, 4 carries, at 20 yards. no touchdowns. If you want a touchdown, that's fine. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and go down here to the no expectations because there's some players I kind of don't have expectations for. Um, I have no expectations for Skrodrick. I actually did like him. I was very impressed with how he ran with this last game, but I also didn't have expectations because I didn't even know who he was. This game, it's kind of now that people know who he is, he probably might get more respect in the line, and so they might tackle him instead of just like thinking of who he is as a scrub. You know, maybe they think he's like an easy scrub. So I also have no expectations, but I do have him finishing the game. Basically, I do have him between 5 and 10 carries, at minimum 30 yards, and at most maybe 60 or 70 again. Like just basically the same performance as before. And if he does that, Thompson, he's practice squatter, 100%. The problem is that we already have our 4 running backs. Unfortunately, I completely disagree with this one person because this one person is actually in my no expectations, but I'm going to rant about it anyways before I go back to the main person I'm going to talk about for the running back group. McIntosh, you're injured. That's fine. Colback, I'm told, was cut, so there goes Colback. And, of course, DJ Dallas. The guy I am tired of seeing because he doesn't try. Or he tries to, like, the smallest degree, but then he just stops trying. And then, I don't know, just no production. He's, in terms of, well, Stone Forsythe's had the worst freaking, and I'll talk about him later. But he's already, in my opinion, he's had the worst preseason. But DJ Dallas is not that far up there. He's had a Broderick Thompson. I'm already expecting Broderick Thompson to have about 29 more yards at minimum. 29 more at minimum. And I have him at 30. So how much I'm expecting for Dallas? 1 yard. Just one. Because he's already given me, probably all preseason, maybe like 12 yards. And that's embarrassing. Especially because he's probably had like 12 attempts. I understand the seniority. I understand the whole, hey, he's reliable. He's been with us for so many years. He's never been too injured. He's a good pass protector. Whatever. All that and more. Whatever. But he is still your number 4 at this point. Because I still see McIntosh probably sneaking his way to number 3 because he's got better talent than Dallas by far. And it's like he's your number 4, but you're treating him like number 1, like king royalty. Like he doesn't have to try because he's just going to win. I'm tired of that. If not, Dallas, cut him. Because he's worth something and we can get money back from him. So anyways, the player that I'm highlighting on the running back group is my boy Charbonnet. So him and Bobo is going to be like the UCLA days. They're just going to run up and kill it. I got Charbonnet. He's doing between 12 15 carries. I got him about 50 yards minimum, maybe a little bit more. I got him at 1 touchdown. I do have him 3 catches for 17 yards minimum, maybe a little more. And he's going to have a big game. I really think that Charbonnet, he's going to probably show up this time. I think the O-line's going to probably show up a little bit this time. And more likely, he's going to show, especially because he's going to be taking most of the loads for sure, the first 2, basically 1/2 worth of play. He's going to show who he is, which is what this is what I want. I really wanted him and McIntosh to cut this load, but the fact that Kenny, not Kenny McIntosh, but the fact that Charbonnet is going to be doing most of the carries, and then DJ Dallas is going to look at him and just look pretty and do the blocking. It's whatever. I'm okay with that. So, in terms of tight ends, Disley and Fant, no expectations. If they get 1 catch, they get 1 catch, maybe 2 catches. They both get about 10, 15 yards each. Maybe they just block the whole time. The one person I really, and I've been hammering about this, is please get Colby Parkinson. For God's sakes, give him some targets. All he does is block. I've been watching all of his reps. He's just been blocking and blocking and blocking. You probably targeted him all throughout this whole preseason like 3 times. Probably. Maybe 4. Maybe 3. No, 3. Seriously. I'm just going because I've not seen him get any action. for me, all three of them are already in the game. It doesn't matter. They're all solidified. And I don't even know any of the other tight ends. I can't even lie. Because I'm more focused on these three. I'm more focused on Colby Parkinson the most. If he can get 3 catches or 5 catches between 3 and 5 and get 30 yards and 1 touchdown, I will be so happy. That is a lot of expectations asking already from Colby because he hasn't done much, especially because, they haven't really let him do much, but he has that talent to produce that. And I'm tired of him being so suppressed. He's not just a blocking tight end. He can catch the ball too. Like, Jesus Christ, let him catch it. So, yeah, in terms of Colby, I hope this is the game that he has, and I hope he can produce, to these numbers that I'm saying. So, in terms of the O-line, I'm going to make it nice and sweet. 3 players I will highlight. Evan Brown, he was dominant to the point. He was good to dominant. Good to dominate. He actually dominated Mozzie Smith and turned him around and made Charbonnet get him that 28-yard run. I believe that was Mozzie Smith, I believe. But he was making Mozzie Smith look pedestrian, honestly. So he was dominated as a center. I was very impressed with Evan Brown, especially this game. He had a decent game the first game, but this game he definitely had a much more improved game, much more sound game, much more powerful game as he was playing in the run game. I loved it. Phil Haynes, he showed a little bit of improvement, but at the same time, he's still Phil Haynes. So I hope he improves a little bit more. So come on, Phil Haynes, don't suck. Last but not least, on the line, Stone, you are the worst performer out of all of the Seahawks so far. I am sick of how you are performing. I have been so mad because I wanted you, out of all people, to actually be a good left tackle and maybe not having to have to draft Charles Cross at that point or something, because Stone is physically an impressive specimen, almost 6'9". Like his hands and arms are like 35, 30. They're so long. He's a long guy. But not only is he slow, he lets everyone get by him. He literally just lets everyone goes, okay, he's like a revolving door. Like, that's what gets me so mad about Stone Forsythe. And he just doesn't seem to want to improve. He's already been in the league, I think, 3 years now. 2019 was he drafted? And he's a 6th-round pick, so he had some kind of praise. Because 6th-round picks, sure, they're cast-offs to a degree, but some 6th-round picks are really good players. But yeah, Stone, you need to get cut, and we need to save that money. I'm tired of it. So in terms of the defense, this one will be a little bit more shorter than the offense. And then I'll give you my predictions and players to watch for on the Packers side. So, I'm just going to go ahead and go straight to it. And I want our defense to go ahead and be how it's always been producing. It's been playing as a team. We've been playing as a whole. I like how young and hungry we've been playing. And more importantly, we are playing with a little bit of an attitude, just like we did in 2012. And I like that. So I'm going to highlight some players, and we're going to go ahead and go from here. So Le'Veon Bell. I always keep saying Le'Veon Brown. I swear to God, the last video I made, my very first video was actually on Le'Veon Bell, and like about 2 times I called him Le'Veon Brown. Le'Veon Brown's a tackle, but I don't know why I kept calling him that. So Le'Veon Bell, if he can get 1 tackle for loss or 1 sack and at least have minimum 3 tackles, that will solidify him on the practice squad at minimum, no matter what. They're not going to let him go. But that's the thing that I'm worried about is that, I'm not too concerned of him clearing waivers. I'm just more concerned of him getting another offer from another team. Because the Seahawks will love to bring him in for the practice squad. And I highlighted big time that Le'Veon Bell has been the biggest fan favorite. He's been next to Bobo. Le'Veon Bell has just been like a rising fan favorite star. And I love it. I'm all for it because he deserves it. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, I think personally, he's having one of the best preseasons especially because you got to consider that he's playing out of position to a safety, and he's performing well. Now, what I want from Colby is I need him to have a forced fumble. If he has a forced fumble, or at least 3 or 4 tackles, or if possible a tackle for loss, it's gonna really make me feel confident that he can play safety and do be transversive, which is something I actually was comparing that to Tron Matthew. He's very versatile in the secondary because he can play both positions. So if Colby can do that, that'd be a little secret that we have. Next, I want to talk about is Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson, I feel as though he's going to be our starting second cornerback. There's no ifs, ands, its, or what's about it. I actually made a video about it, and I actually did praise Mike Jackson because that was actually his first season playing as a starter. So I treated it as a rookie season, really, even though he was 25 years old. And he played well. He played well enough to compete with the other rookies if you put him on the lines of the rookies that played this year. He actually did have a good good year last year. So I'm not going to write him off completely. But for those people who are saying that we should trade Mike Jackson, I actually do not want to trade Mike Jackson because I think Mike Jackson is less valuable than this player, Trey Brown. I already mentioned before Trey Brown should be traded for Chase Young in the Chase Young video, but I also don't mind him using him in any other piece for any other trade. But I also believe he has the best upside in terms of him versus Mike Jackson. I think Trey Brown's more talented than Mike Jackson personally. But I also do believe Trey Brown is a better trade candidate for sure. Much better piece to trade for or with. Now, excuse me. If he has 3 tackles and 2 pass deflections and maybe an INT, Trey Brown is going to be a good play. It's going to be great. Boye Mafe, I do expect him to have 1 sack. If he gets 1 sack this game, I think he's going to be solidified as a starter. And Taylor ain't going to be able to take it away. If Boye gets 1 sack, it's over. It's over. Boye is going to own the starting position. Now, if Taylor has a huge game, Taylor has a 2-sack performance, maybe a tackle for loss, or 2 tackles for loss is 2 sacks, and maybe pass deflect or something. He just has a monster game, like a J.J. Watt style monster game. He will be the starter. Boye Mafe will ride the bench on number 2s again, and Taylor will solidify. But that is actually good news because that will make Taylor much more valuable again. And players would probably want to trade for him and give us either, their better players. Because I don't really want to trade for picks. I want better players, in my opinion. That's what I want. In terms of the linebacking core, Brooks, Brett Olligam, I don't really have too much expectation for all of them. Like Bush, all of them. I know they're going to make it. But there's 2 players I am looking at. There's Radigan and Curvin. Those 2 players, if one of them have a really good game, they're both one of them's making a practice squad. One of them's getting cut. One of them's making a practice squad. That's it. I'm predicting that right now. Either Radigan is going to get cut or practice squad, or Curve is going to get cut or practice squad. That's it. But they both have to hit at least 6 tackles minimum. Whichever one gets 6 tackles minimum or plus, and actually takes over the game for a little bit, is noticeable on the field. Which, to be fair, Radigan did have a good, in terms of being able to go up and be on the field. He did do that in the first preseason, but notably Ben Burkervin's also been flying around the field. He's done that for many years, even though he's lost a considerable step since his leg injury. So it's hard to say. So our defense, I do allow us to allowing 24 points, and I ain't gonna lie. I do see us winning. I do see us scoring 4 touchdowns, and we're going to win 28-24 with the Seahawks being able to beat the Packers yet again. I'm going to have some players. I highlighted a few players. So I do have Jordan Love. He could throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns. That's why I have 24 on the score. He could throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns. There's another player named Emmanuel Wilson. I was just watching him. He's been killing it. He's got his. I think his first game, he had this. There was one game in particular in the preseason. He had 6 carries, 111 yards, and a touchdown. That's pretty impressive. And we've been getting killed on the run game, so this is something that I'm really keeping an eye on. Wilson specifically. And then there's 2 players that I actually did get to see, and after I was watching them, I was a little surprised because I didn't know that they were very, very lower tiered, not lower tiered, but you know what I mean, like they were drafted. One's a 7th round pick and one's an undrafted free agent, and that's Dubas and Heath. And apparently they've been having some pretty good camps, and they had some pretty decent games as I've been watching their preseasons. So that's something to watch. You know, that's going to be a little bit of a test for the other corners that we have going on. So, hey, that's what I mean. This might be a little bit of a higher scoring game, maybe 24-28. Or maybe, in my opinion, 31-27. You know, it's going to be up there. We are winning. I'm not saying this as a Seahawks. I'm just saying this as like a true thing. I do see the Seahawks winning, but I do see the Packers, after Jordan Love is done, they weren't going to score that many more points. But whatever Jordan Love scores, which is, in my opinion, I believe 24 points or 21 points because in touchdowns. Yeah, there you go. That's gonna be the case. So in my opinion, it's really limiting Jordan Love and being able to contain Wilson. So those are 2 things that I'm really concerned about. Defense wise, I didn't really look into much of the defense, but I'm confident that our offense is gonna be better, especially with Drew Lock throwing the rock to, I guess, Bobo and now Parkinson. Since again, there's not really many much targets to throw, but I also see Charbonnet having a big game because there's not many targets to throw to. So in any event, I hope you guys liked this. I hope you guys enjoyed my opinion on the predictions and maybe the expectations. And hopefully you guys have any thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think. I'm going to try to be making a few other topic videos and maybe put like the meme things as well, like I did with my Sam Howell video. In terms of like these topic reviews and all that, I just talk. I'm not gonna like edit them. I'm just gonna talk like this. But all the other videos, like the real topic specific videos, I'm gonna try to edit those and make them what you saw in the Sam Howell video. And if you guys like it, please like and subscribe. Again, I'm trying my absolute best. I'm still learning how to do this whole YouTube stuff, and more importantly, I really do enjoy talking about sports and my Seahawks. So all in all, thank you very much. You guys have a good night, and go Hawks, baby.